on TV, and then he kind of got me.
Yeah.
And we sort of got this communication.
For decades, Simon Cowell has been known as the blunt judge who could make or break a performance with a single sentence. Millions watched him deliver criticism that was honest, sometimes uncomfortable, but often effective. What audiences didn't always see was the human being behind that image, someone driven, insecure, ambitious, and deeply affected by both success and loss. Simon's tough exterior was never about cruelty for its own sake. It was shaped by years of trial, failure, and a belief that honesty mattered more than politeness. As he grew older, that image began to soften, revealing a man shaped as much by pain as by power. Roots that shaped his drive. Simon Philip Cowell was born in London in 1959 and raised in Hertfordshire, growing up in a family that blended creativity and business. His mother, Julie, had a background in dance and social life, while his father, Eric, worked in real estate and the music industry. That connection to music would prove influential, even though Simon did not follow a traditional academic path. School never fully held his attention, and he moved through several institutions before earning modest qualifications. These early years taught him independence and resilience, planting the seeds for the stubborn determination that would define his career. Learning the industry the hard way. Simon's entry into the music world was anything but glamorous. He worked odd jobs, including a brief stint as a runner on a film set, before his father helped him secure a position in the mailroom at EMI. Even there, Simon struggled. He clashed with authority, failed to advance as quickly as he wanted, and left out of frustration. Those early disappointments shaped his understanding of how unforgiving the entertainment business could be. They also fueled his hunger to eventually be the one making decisions instead of waiting for approval. Early success and a painful fall. In the 1980s, Simon took a bold leap and started his own label. For a moment, success came quickly. Hit records brought money, confidence, and a taste of luxury. But the rise was unstable. Financial mismanagement and industry pressure led to collapse, and by his late 20s, Simon had lost nearly everything. Forced to move back in with his parents, he faced humiliation and self-doubt. This period humbled him deeply and taught him patience, discipline, and caution, lessons that would later protect him when success returned on a much larger scale. Rebuilding with strategy and patience. Simon's comeback began quietly. Joining BMG Records, he focused on practical commercial projects rather than chasing prestige. He worked with novelty acts and television-related music, learning what audiences truly responded to. His breakthrough came when he recognized the commercial potential of Robson and Jerome, turning a television moment into a chart-topping phenomenon. That success restored his confidence and finances, proving that instinct and timing mattered as much as artistic purity. From this point on, Simon trusted his judgment and stopped rushing success. Becoming a global powerhouse. The early 2000s transformed Simon Cowell from executive to celebrity. His role as a judge on Pop Idol and later American Idol brought him into living rooms worldwide. His blunt honesty became his signature, and audiences responded to its authenticity. He followed this success by creating major franchises like The X Factor and Got Talent, reshaping television talent competitions globally. At the same time, his label signed major artists, cementing his influence over both television and music. Fame, wealth, and recognition followed, but so did intense pressure. The quiet pain of losing his parents. Behind the confidence and authority Simon Cowell projected on television was a son deeply affected by loss. In 1999, just as his career was reaching a turning point, Simon lost his father. The timing made the grief especially disorienting. While success was accelerating, something foundational in his personal life had suddenly vanished. He later spoke about the shock of realizing that the people he assumed would always be there were suddenly gone. That sense of permanence had been an illusion. Years later, in 2015, the loss of his mother cut even deeper. Their bond was close, and her death left him feeling unanchored in a way fame could never compensate for. Without his parents, Simon was forced to face grief alone, without the quiet reassurance that had steadied him for most of his life. Awards, money, and influence offered no protection from that emptiness. Love, mistakes, and public scrutiny. Simon's romantic life unfolded in the glare of public attention, making every success and failure feel amplified. Relationships were often tested by his relentless work schedule and his tendency to guard his emotions. Some relationships ended quietly, others under intense media scrutiny. Over time, Simon stopped pretending he had all the answers. He openly admitted that commitment had never come easily to him, and that his priorities were often skewed by work. Those admissions were not excuses, but acknowledgements of growth. Each failed relationship left behind lessons about presence, patience, and the cost of emotional distance. Being judged not just for his work, but for his personal life, forced Simon to confront his own shortcomings in a way that success alone never could. Depression, behind the spotlight. After losing his mother, Simon entered a period of deep emotional struggle that few viewers ever noticed. On screen, he remained composed and sharp, delivering the same confident presence audiences expected. Off-screen, however, he felt hollow. Work no longer brought satisfaction, and material success felt strangely irrelevant. He later described this time as one of emotional numbness, where days blended together without meaning. The pressure to keep performing while privately grieving only deepened the isolation. This period exposed the hidden cost of public life, the expectation to appear strong while quietly unraveling. Simon's experience became a reminder that depression does not discriminate based on wealth or status. Fatherhood as a turning point. The birth of his son, Eric, marked a profound shift in Simon's life. For the first time in years, his focus moved away from charts, ratings, and public approval. Fatherhood grounded him in the present and gave him a sense of purpose that success never had. The joy of watching his son grow brought back emotions he thought he had lost. It also introduced new fears, but these were rooted in care rather than ambition. Simon often spoke about how becoming a father gave him something real to hold on to during a time when everything else felt fragile. Eric became a quiet source of strength, pulling him back from emotional exhaustion and reminding him what truly mattered. Facing fear, injury, and mortality. In recent years, serious physical injuries forced Simon to confront his own vulnerability. A major bike accident that required spinal surgery became a wake-up call. Recovery was slow and painful, stripping away any illusion of invincibility. Additional injuries reinforced the reality that health cannot be taken for granted. For someone used to constant motion and control, being forced to slow down was challenging but transformative. These moments shifted his priorities, encouraging him to value rest, balance, and self-care. The experience reminded him that strength is not just about endurance, but about knowing when to pause. Living under constant judgment. Even now, Simon remains a subject of constant public judgment. His appearance, choices, and lifestyle are analysed and debated endlessly. Rather than retreating, he chose honesty. He spoke openly about cosmetic treatments, acknowledging missteps and the pressure to look youthful on camera. Over time, he learned to laugh at criticism instead of letting it define him. This transparency reflected a deeper comfort with who he is today. Rather than chasing approval, Simon focused on health, simplicity, and authenticity. A life redefined by experience. Simon Cowell's journey is no longer defined solely by power or influence. Loss taught him humility, mistakes taught him self-awareness, and fatherhood taught him love beyond ambition. The sharp judge remains, but he is now tempered by experience and reflection. His story is not one of perfection, but of growth, proof that even those who seem untouchable are shaped by grief, healing, and the quiet work of becoming more human. A legacy still being written at 65, Simon Cowell continues to work, create, and influence entertainment, but with a different mindset. Success no longer defines him the way it once did. Family, health, and honesty matter more than domination or approval. His journey is no longer about proving himself, but about understanding who he is beyond the spotlight. The sharp judge remains, but now he is balanced by experience, loss, growth, and a deeper sense of humanity.